And so they asked Pope Francis about this issue about protecting human life. Is that the preeminent social and political issue? His response was that, of course it is.
Fight the good fight with the truth, stand tall with the truth. I'm a warrior for Christ, I'm in love with the truth.
Pretty good news, Terry. The Pope speaks to the U.S. bishops
excellent.
about pro-life issues
Thank you,
and transgender ideology.
Praise God.
And that's good that the bishops and the Pope are firing both on all cylinders on this topic. Archbishop Joseph Neiman, I've seen him, I've met him. He was a commencement speaker at my son's graduation at Benedictine in Wichita, Kansas. Mm-hmm. I mean, in Atchison, Kansas. Yeah. He went to go visit Pope Francis with other bishops from Missouri, Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa. And they're, every 5 years they have an ad limina visit to the Vatican where they report on the status of their diocese to the Pope and other Vatican officials. So there's been a controversy here in the U.S. among some liberal prelates, some liberal bishops.
Yeah, like San Diego,
Chicago.
Sure.
They're saying that they're alleging that the pro-life issue or the issue of abortion is not a preeminent social issue. You have Kupich and you have the one from San Diego.
Whatever his name is, he's in San Diego. McNally or something like that. Yeah, go ahead.
But nonetheless, so I guess Archbishop Naumann wanted to get clarification on this. And so they asked Pope Francis about this issue about protecting human life. Is that the preeminent social and political issue? This is the head of the U.S. Bishops' Committee for Pro-Life Activities. And he was told on January 16th, the Pope agreed with the U.S. bishops saying, quote, identifying the protection of the unborn as a preeminent priority. And Archbishop Neiman says that his response was that, of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course, protecting human life is the preeminent social issue. That's what the Pope said. He said it's the most fundamental right. The Pope said, this is not first a religious issue. It's a human rights issue, the issue of protecting human life. Yep. Which is so true. So Archbishop Neiman was one of 15 bishops from Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, and Nebraska making their visit to the Vatican. And they were just basically trying to give a status report of their diocese. Terry, this is good news.
It is good news. And you know what was a little surprising? And I think I'm glad they're educating, and I mean, I'm sorry to say educating the Holy Father on this, because he seemed shocked when the Archbishop told the Pope that since Roe versus Wade, 47 years ago, that this was the decision that legalized abortion in all 9 months. An estimated 61 million abortions have taken place in the United States. And the Archbishop said, I think the Pope was stunned by that number. So in other words, sadly, the abortion policies we have one of the most liberal abortion policies in the world. In fact, that it's really literally because of, like I say, all 9 months of pregnancy. Most other nations don't permit abortions, at least at a certain point of the pregnancy. But here's the point I'm making. I get a little surprised when the Holy Father didn't realize 61 million babies have been aborted. Now he's going, well, yeah, that's got to be. I mean, when you think about, Jesse, comparing it to the death penalty, when a handful of guys and girls are killed through the,
I don't know, maybe
penalty.
a dozen a year.
Okay,
maybe
a dozen a year. How does that compare to 61 million, and millions a year dying? And
there's no comparison. They're not even on the same playing field.
The thing about it is, I just want to bring this up, that at the November conference, Archbishop Chaput came out really strong with Bishop Strickland, I might add. It's on YouTube, Jess, if people Google it. And he was saying that abortion has to be still the number one thing we need to stop in our country. And the San Diego bishop came up and said just the opposite. And you know what he said, Jesse? I remember it, that Pope Francis doesn't think that. Well, you know what? Maybe he has a different view now down in San Diego, because I'd like him to be aware of what the Holy Father just said. So I think it's fantastic news for the unborn.
Yeah. And just to show you that there is no comparison with people that try to say, well, what about the death penalty? It's like abortion. Okay, let me give you the proportionality here. 3,300 babies are killed every day in the United States. How many death row inmates are killed, are executed after having gone through, the criminal justice
Convicted.
system all the way to the Supreme Court. Yeah, convicted.
Yeah.
They've got the Court of Appeals, Supreme Court hearings.
Yeah.
23 death row inmates are executed in the United States every year. Every year. Okay? 23 a year versus 3,300 babies a day.
Hey, keep the word innocent, man. Innocent baby.
They were innocent. They never committed a crime.
There you go.
They never had their day in court because they never committed a crime. Versus 23 death row inmates who were convicted of heinous crimes. Terry, and right now, it's just to prove that somebody was 100% guilty, it's very easy now because now they've developed what's called DNA evidence, so they can place people physically at the scene of a crime. So not only do we have, testimony and eyewitnesses, circumstantial evidence, we now actually have the actual DNA of the criminals on the dead bodies of these people. So the people that are being executed, Terry, are 100% guilty. They had their day in court.
Absolutely.
Superior Court, Appellate Court, Supreme Court. They've exhausted, all the constitutional rights. And, Terry, it's not like a lot of them are being killed. It's 23 a year, not 23 a day or 23 an hour.
I know. Jesse, also in that meeting, Bishop McKnight said that during the meeting, he thanked Pope Francis for expanding the section of the Congregation of the Doctrine of Faith to investigate clerical sexual abuse. Jess, it's clear now from what the bishop said. He can't say exactly what he said because of confidentiality, but the bishop said the question of the Vatican's promise to report on the case and career of Theodore E. McCarrick, the former Cardinal and Archbishop of Washington, was brought up by one of the bishops. Thank you. And here's what he said. I must respect the confidential nature of the conversation, but Bishop McKnight said, I can just say I'm very confident the Pope is doing everything he can to rectify the problem and to help the entire church learn. This is what I want to know, Jess. Learn the mistake of McCarrick's promotion in the church. The Holy Father sees that he recognizes that McCarrick's promotion as the Archbishop of Washington should have never happened. So here's the thing. Who are these men that were involved with McCarrick as he was climbing the ladder in the church? We've got to know that, Jess, because they got to get booted out also. That's my take.
Right. And that's it. It looks like it's moving in that
I
direction.
hope so. Praise God.
We'll just keep praying that it does happen.
Mm-hmm.
And Pope Francis, he also reiterated about and they said that he was in a lot of pain when they brought up the whole clerical sexual abuse crisis. I mean, who would? I get embarrassed, Terry, when I'm around non-Catholics
and I'm not the
lukewarm
Pope.
Catholics.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed about that. I'm like, I think I turn red when that conversation comes up and I'm around secular people or non